In today's video, I'm going back to my roots a little bit. As you know, I started off making the aero testing videos and enjoy the ones that are basically pointless the most. And today, I'm going to try to do something that will potentially benefit everybody at the 128 World Community Online on Facebook. So, we're going to look at a couple of different wing designs for the McLaren 12C. I know it's one of the most popular race bodies, and now that I own a couple of them, I understand why. It's very light, it handles very good, they're quick. You can put them on any body or any chassis and it'll make it better. They're amazing. Anyway, we're going to look at some aftermarket spoilers that I have created. We're going to test two different designs and put them out there. If there's something you guys, if they happen to be something you guys would like to have, I would even consider making them and making them available to you at just a small fee, just so it's worth my time to do and get it out to you. It'd be minimal, but let's find out for sure if it's worth doing after all. Let's start off with your McLaren 12C. Beautiful car, it's lovely, it's been doing awesome. And suddenly you flip it and somebody runs into it while it's upside down and the wing goes snapping off and flying over across the track. It is a sad thing because it's no longer as it was when it was brand new, but to use some HR terminology, you now have an area of opportunity. So what I've done here is I have simulated what would happen if a wing was broken off by accident on a track and just removed it. First thing I'm going to do is find out what this thing does with no wing at all. We'll see how it does. You know what? I'm going to put batteries in it real quick just so it's in race form. Alright, it now has batteries in it. We're in race form. The scales are now zeroed. Find out what it weighs. 84.4, 86.7, pretty well balanced. Let's find out what it does. I've already calibrated the wind speed to 20 kilometers per hour. That's the standard track speed of a 70 turn car, whether it's a PN or a Kyosho. About 70 turn with a 70 tooth, and it's about 20 kilometers an hour. Let's find out what happens with no wing at all. 85.1, 85.5. So we did get a little bit of increased downforce on the nose, but we lost some on the tail. I'm going to write those numbers down just so that we have a baseline to start off with. So first one's 84.4 and 86.7. 85.4, 85.7. All right, 85.5, let's say. Oh, I'm losing my battery there. I'll conserve. All right. So those are written down. The next thing I'll do is grab my aftermarket wing that I have made for this car, and we have now a baseline that we can work with. Alright, what I've done is attach my aftermarket wing that I created yesterday. It does have some compound curves in it, and it's a bit U-shaped. I don't know if they're getting camera distortion, but that is designed to funnel the air to the middle of the wing so it doesn't spill over the edges, and hopefully that is one that will create a lot of downforce. My second 12C body, I've got a slightly different shape wing. It's a bit flatter and just about 2 or 3 millimeters wider, and this is the one that is probably going to be better for a high-speed track, but I don't know. This one is more surface area. It's larger, a little narrower, but we'll test them both and see what happens at 20 miles per hour. So the readings might change just a little bit because I'm moving the cars around, but oh crap, I forgot to wait long enough for that to zero itself out. It's going to be within tenths of a gram. But this is race form. Cars on the scales. So 84 nothing, 88 1. That's pretty close to what it was before. Before it was 86 7. So I've added about 1.4 grams just with the hardware on the tail, the screws, and the plastic itself. But let's see what happens when we turn the air on. 20 kilometers per hour. So 84.8 and 89.7. So that's a difference now of 4.2 grams more downforce on the tail than with no downforce. That's minus the what am I trying to say? That includes the weight of the wing itself. Just going to write down our numbers: 84.2 and 87.5. So you're not losing much at all. We've lost 0.6 grams on the nose, but we picked up 4.2 on the tail. I'd say that's a pretty good trade. Let's try the other body with the other wing, see what happens. Re-zero the counters, and this one still has more hanging off of it because it's not been damaged on a track yet. I better put batteries in it. Alright, batteries are in. Let's have a look. 82.8, 82.7. Very, very well balanced car. 82.8, 82.6 now. Settled on 6. Alright, let's see what happens with this one. 84.1, 82.8. This one gives a little more nose force and has only increased it by 0.3 grams on the tail so far. A little bit less than I was hoping for, but compared to a body with no wing, it's making about, I can add 1.2 to that, so it'd be 82.80. Let's see, I'll do some math. 84.1. So it is doing a little bit, and that's 20 kilometers per hour. So if you don't want to lose, downforce on the nose, the smaller wing, option 2, is a little bit better. I'm going to ramp it up and see what happens at brushless speeds. I'm going to try to get wind speeds in the middle 30 kph, and we'll see what happens. This is also going to be about the same as you would have with the 50 turn. Alright, I just reset the wind speed to 35.3 over the middle of the scale. We'll see what option 1 does at that wind speed. And currently looks like 84.0, 88.1. 0, 88.1. Wind off, 88.1 and 3. We'll say that. 88.1, 88.3. It doesn't matter, it's close enough. Let's find out what happens. 88.0, 92.1. I call it 92. Alright, so it doesn't really give it a whole lot of increase like I was hoping for, mainly due to the fact there's no air moving under the wing, which would help it dramatically. There might be a version 3 coming out soon. We'll find out later. Let's get a reading on the other car. We'll zero these back out. Too soon. They have to self-calibrate with no weight on them before they do the right things. Alright, here comes the other version. 82.7, 82.7. Here goes. 87.1, so the nose makes more downforce than the tail does in this particular body. I don't think it's hurting it much to have the wing on there. It's obviously doing something that would be creating lift. I should have done a lift test with no wing at this wind speed. I'll give that a shot real quick. Well, I hope I got everything here. I'm going to test this body at middle 30 kph range. 35 kph is what it's set at. We'll see what it does with no wing, how much that tail would raise or lower at speed. So 84.3, call it 5, 86.6. The scales are not exact, but they're pretty close. So it may not look like it created that much downforce, but it actually is, because the body of the car acts like a wing, and with no wing on it, you're creating lift. You're not just, stuff does happen with the airflow. Alright, so you can see it makes quite a bit of lift in the wrong direction, upward lift, with no wing, and the wing did create a bunch. It only looked like it made about a little bit over a gram, but in fact it's countering the lift created by the body, and it's doing quite a bit. I'd say it's a good thing to have. You're getting about 7 grams of downforce with the that you would not have had without the wing, and for a 1 gram penalty, I'd say that's a very good. After looking at my numbers, this is my conclusions that I came to. If you're running a 7 or 8 tooth pinion with a 70 turn motor, even an X speed, you're going to get probably the best results with version 1, because your car's going to top out around 20 kilometers per hour. It does take a slight bit of downforce off the nose that the body creates, but it puts quite a bit on the tail, so you'll gain quite a bit of grip at the back end of the car. Version 2, you gain a little bit on the tail, not a whole lot, but you keep that front grip, which is important if you're just short track and you're slamming around. There is some benefit to having a wing either way, just because it acts the same way a sprint car wing would act in a rollover. It kind of protects the car a little bit by providing a bit of a spring cushion just from the deformation of the wing as it is impacted. We'll look at version 2 here. I'm sorry, at the higher speeds once you get to brushless cars. This is what I came up with. Your conclusions may vary, but after looking at my numbers, I figured out 35 kilometers per hour. I don't really see a clear winner here. If you're looking for rear downforce, obviously version 1 is for you. It pushes pretty hard on the tail for a wing of its size. You can see the shape difference. One is taller and more U-shaped, one is a bit shorter and more rectangular. Version 2 doesn't have nearly the tail grip, but it doesn't take away from the nose either. It looks like it's building downforce in the nose and tail pretty evenly, so the car is going to stay fairly balanced. If you're looking for balance, this is the wing for you. Keep in mind that without the wing, it's going to, just the body itself will produce lift on the tail, and you're going to lose downforce because the body is physically lifting the car as it creates lift as air goes over the roof of it. If you're looking strictly for downforce, clearly version 1. You're going to lose a little bit of grip on the nose. Be prepared for that. I would say version 1 is the winner if you're going to only be doing 7/8 tooth. And if you're running brushless or 50 turn motors with high gearing, it's going to come down to how you drive, what your car is set up to do. But there is clearly a benefit for having it. It only adds just over a gram of weight, but it does quite a bit. And once again, it'll help protect your car a bit in a crash situation. And I think it's worth having. If you do too, let me know. I consider making these if you guys want them. They'll be pretty cheap. I just want to get them out there if you decide to do it. And I might sell them in like pairs. You might get one of each, whatever you want. We'll work out a cheap deal so that anybody who wants this wing can have it. I just want to build competitive nature within the class and make sure that everybody has access to the same equipment. But if you like this stuff, great. Let me know online at the 128 World Community. If there's enough interest, I'll go ahead and have them made and shipped out to you. Let me know.